My wife had a secret affair with her cousin, someone I considered part of our family. When I found out about their relationship, I was in complete shock and couldn't believe what was happening. Instead of silently suffering, I exposed the truth to the entire family, revealing everything. It caused a major scandal, and shortly after, I filed for divorce. I couldn't continue living under the same roof with that kind of betrayal. I didn't realize my marriage had died. It didn't happen with shouting or slamming doors. It slipped away quietly, like someone smothered it with a pillow while I lay sleeping beside it. My name is Nick. I'm 33. I teach at a local college, and my wife and I have twin sons. Amy and I had known each other since childhood, the kind of couple people in town point to and say, now that's real love. That was us. Born a few streets apart, grew up together, fell in love in high school, married after college. We bought a house near our parents, built a cozy life, had kids. Everything felt right, until one night, lying on the couch, she turned to me and asked, have you ever regretted that I was your only one? I didn't understand at first. I just chuckled. No, never. She held my gaze for a second longer than usual, then turned back to the TV. On the outside, nothing changed, but something inside me shifted. You know that feeling when you miss a step going downstairs? That flicker of panic? That feeling stayed with me. A few days later, I remembered that her cousin Dustin had recently gone through a painful breakup. Suddenly, Amy started talking about him with this odd tenderness, said he was really struggling, and maybe she'd go visit him, bring dinner, lift his spirits. I didn't object. I'd known Dustin since we were teens, loud, impulsive, always pushing limits, but not a bad guy. I actually appreciated that Amy wanted to support someone in the family. She came home late, said the talk was heavy. I hugged her. I asked no questions. Then she wanted to see him again, and again a week later. I offered to go with her. She gently declined. Said Dustin just needed quiet company right now. I believed her. Back then, I still believed her. The third time she went to see him, something felt different. She didn't tell me until the last minute. She was already halfway out the door when she said she was taking leftovers to Dustin. I asked, again? And she just smiled like I was being silly. He's having a hard time, Nick. It's nothing. I kissed her goodbye, but it didn't sit right. That evening, she came back with a distant look. Her eyes avoided mine. She hugged the boys, said she was tired, and went to bed early. The pattern kept repeating. Each visit, she grew more restless around me, more distracted, but strangely more affectionate too, like she was overcompensating. She started cooking my favorite meals again, left little notes in my lunch, surprised me with back rubs and compliments. It wasn't natural. It was desperate, like someone trying to erase something they couldn't. One night I mentioned I might stop by Dustin's and say hi myself. Her reaction was too fast, too sharp. No, he's still not ready to talk to anyone else. Please don't make this about you. That hit me. Make this about me? I let it go, but something cracked. From then on, I paid attention. She wasn't good at hiding patterns. I noticed she always did her hair when going over there. Switched perfumes, picked out clothes she hadn't worn in months. Dresses, not hoodies. Lip gloss, not chapstick. She stopped telling me when she went. I'd only know by the missing car or the cold dinner. I kept waiting for the moment I'd catch her in a lie, but she was careful. Too careful. Until one Thursday, I left work early and drove by Dustin's house. Her car was in the driveway. She hadn't mentioned going there. My heart dropped. I parked down the street, walked up to the porch, stood at the front door, and I heard it. Faint, unmistakable, just beyond the wood. Breathy laughter, a man's voice, then silence, then a moan. I didn't knock. I called her phone. Through the door, I heard it ringing. She didn't answer. I stood there frozen, hand still holding my phone, heart pounding so loud I thought it would give me away. I didn't know what to do. Kick the door open, scream, cry, collapse. But instead, I backed away slowly, like I was afraid of waking a sleeping animal. I got in my car and sat there with the engine off, staring at the steering wheel, feeling my fingers go numb. I must have sat there 20 minutes before driving home in silence. That night, she came back late, said Dustin was getting better, but still not sleeping well. She kissed me like nothing happened, and I let her. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. I couldn't sleep. I barely ate. My mind looped one question. Was it just once, or had I been living in the shadow of a lie for weeks? I needed proof. The next day, I remembered something. Years ago, Dustin had bragged about hiding a spare key under a stone by the porch. I waited until Amy left for groceries, then drove back to his house. The neighborhood was quiet. No one around. I found the rock, found the key, and let myself in. The house was still, smelled like cheap cologne and something warmer, her perfume. I didn't go past the hallway. I just needed to be sure. I looked around and spotted her scarf on the back of a chair, the one I bought her for our anniversary. It hit me like a punch. I left without touching anything. I couldn't confront her empty-handed. I needed undeniable proof, something she couldn't twist or explain away. So I started preparing. I charged an old phone, turned it into a recorder, and the next time she said she was running errands, I placed it under the passenger seat of her car. Then I waited. She came back smiling, carrying grocery bags, humming. I said nothing. That night I listened. My hands trembled as I hit play. The first 2 minutes were silence, then voices, then moaning, then her voice whispering his name. That was all I needed. My wife was cheating on me. With her cousin, I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed next to her, listening to the calm rhythm of her breathing while my chest burned like someone had carved it open. I kept seeing her in his arms, playing the scenes over in my mind like some cruel film. The way she'd kissed me when she got home, the way she curled up beside me like nothing was wrong. It all made me feel sick. In the morning, I got up early, made breakfast for the boys, packed their lunches, and dropped them off at school like it was any other day. Amy was still asleep when I left. I parked near a small cafe and waited for the lawyer's office to open. I'd already found someone through a friend the night before. The meeting was short. I told her what I had, what I'd recorded, what I'd seen. She said I had more than enough for an uncontested divorce in full custody. I nodded, numb. By the afternoon, I'd secured a place to stay at my brother's and moved half my things while she was out. I texted her only once. The kids are safe. I need time to think. She called 5 times, but I didn't answer. That evening, I picked up the boys and took them to my brother's. They were confused, but I told them we were having a sleepover for a few nights. I didn't want to pull them into the storm yet. I returned to the house the next day when she wasn't home, packed the rest of my belongings, and left divorce papers on the kitchen counter with a note. You made your choice. That should have been it, but it didn't feel like justice. She hadn't just betrayed me. She destroyed the one thing I valued most, the family we built. And the worst part? It was with someone we both called family. She hadn't just broken my heart, she'd humiliated me. So I opened my laptop, logged on to Facebook, and wrote a single paragraph that changed everything. After years of marriage, I filed for divorce. Ask her why. I hit post. I went to bed. By the time I woke up, my post had already exploded. Over 100 comments, dozens of messages, some from friends asking what happened, some from people I barely knew offering support. And then there were the texts from Amy. What the hell did you do? Take it down now. You're ruining both our lives. But I didn't feel like the one who ruined anything. I simply pointed to the wreckage. She and Dustin had lit the match. I just let the world see the fire. By noon, her family started reaching out. Her mother sent a long guilt-laced message about how this was a private matter and shouldn't be aired publicly. I didn't respond. Her sister asked if it was true. I replied with one photo. Her car in his driveway, time-stamped. No words, just proof. Word spread fast. We lived in a small town, and small towns thrive on whispers. The story morphed from rumors into a fact everyone knew. Amy had cheated, and not just with anyone, with Dustin, her cousin, technically not blood, but close enough to feel like incest to most. The judgment came quickly. Invitations to family events disappeared. Friends unfollowed her. Dustin, once the loud, charismatic life of every party, suddenly couldn't find anyone to meet him for a drink. He stopped posting online altogether. She called again that night. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail crying, begging me to delete the post, saying she couldn't go outside without being stared at, that our kids would suffer. I listened to the whole thing once, then deleted it. I wasn't going to protect her from the consequences of her choices, not anymore. She made her bed, and now she could lie in it, alone, with the truth echoing louder than any lies she'd told me. For the first time since this all began, I felt something close to peace. The fallout kept spreading. Within a week, Amy and Dustin became social pariahs. People stopped inviting them anywhere. Her co-workers avoided her. He lost a couple of freelance contracts when word got around. I didn't lift a finger to help. I wasn't vengeful. I was done. But silence can be louder than rage. The only thing I focused on was the kids. I made sure their days stayed normal. School, routines, bedtime stories. I didn't speak badly about their mom. I didn't need to. Kids are observant. They noticed she wasn't around. They asked. I just said, she's going through something right now, and left it there. The custody process moved fast. I filed for full custody, citing emotional instability and breach of trust. My lawyer used the recordings, photos, and even Dustin's dating history as supplemental evidence. Amy didn't fight it. Maybe she knew she couldn't win. Maybe she was too ashamed. She signed the papers without even showing up in court. That night, I sat alone in my new apartment, staring at the documents. Full custody, sole ownership of the house, no spousal support. I'd walked out of the wreckage carrying everything but the flames. She, on the other hand, had nothing. No husband, no home, no friends. Her parents, even with all their guilt-tripping, kept their distance too. She'd tainted the family name. Dustin moved 2 towns over, probably trying to outrun the whispers. But in the age of social media, that's impossible. Once you're known as the guy who slept with his cousin's wife, it sticks. especially in a town where everyone knows everyone. Amy sent one more message. Can we talk? I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. She buried something sacred, and now she wanted to dig it back up and pretend it could still live. I wasn't interested in reviving the dead. I was too busy learning how to breathe again without her lies poisoning the air. I thought the worst was behind me until Amy showed up at the boys' school. It was a Friday afternoon, pickup time, and I was standing by the car when I saw her across the parking lot. She looked thinner, pale, like she hadn't slept in days. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they locked onto me. She started walking over, fast and unsteady, and I told the kids to wait in the car. Nick, please, she said, voice breaking. Just let me talk to them. I stayed between her and the door. This isn't the place, I said, but she kept pushing. I'm still their mother. You can't erase me. That's when the school security stepped in. I didn't call them, but someone else must have seen her shaking, crying, causing a scene. They asked her to leave. She screamed at me in front of everyone, called me bitter, said I was poisoning the kids against her. I said nothing. The kids watched through the back window in silence. I hated that they had to see it. I hated that she gave them this version of herself. Later that night, I filed a no-contact order. It wasn't out of spite. It was to protect them, and maybe myself too, because every time she showed up, it chipped at the calm I was finally rebuilding. She didn't try again, not in person, but she posted online long, emotional paragraphs about losing everything, about regret and forgiveness. Some people believed her, most didn't. The truth was already out there, and no amount of poetic spinning could rewrite it. I muted her name across every platform. I didn't need to see her rewrite history. I was busy writing a new one with my boys, one where the silence in our home didn't feel like a lie, one where I could breathe without wondering who she really was when I wasn't looking. And slowly, painfully, that version of life started to feel real. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. Finally. It's been almost a year now. The house feels different, quieter, lighter. The boys have adjusted better than I expected. We have our routines, our jokes, our peaceful mornings. Sometimes I still think about everything that happened, but it doesn't hurt the way it used to. Amy's no longer part of our lives. The no-contact order stands, and she hasn't tried to break it. I don't know where Dustin ended up, and I don't care. What matters is that I didn't let their betrayal break me. I didn't lose myself. I kept the one thing they never had, my integrity. I still wear the same watch Amy gave me years ago. Not because I miss her, but because it reminds me of time and how it moves forward no matter what. That's what I've done. Move forward. And I'm finally okay.